Σώσον Κύριε των λαών σου και ευλογήσον την κληρονομία σου, νίκας της βασιλεύση κατά βαρβάρων δωρούμενος και των σων φυλάτων δια του Σταυρού σου πολίτευμα.
That was chanted by Stavros Saromatis, who bears the same name as Father Stavros, Stavros Andrea Saromati, and another grandchild now, Michael Glezos, will chant the hymn to Prophet Elias, who for 60 years has been interceding for us. Michael.
Ο έξαρχος άγγελος των προφήτων ικρητής, ο δεύτερος πρόδρομος της παρουσίας Χριστού, Ηλίας ο ένδοξος, άνωθεν καταπέμψας, Ελισαίο την χάριν, νόσους αποδιώκει και λεπρούς καθαρίζει, δύο και της θυμώσιν αυτών βρίαματα.
And we'll chant a few hymns for Pentecost, which we celebrate today. Ψέρνουμε αντί το άξιον εστί την Πεντηκοστή, ένα κομμάτι όπως λέει ο ιερέας εξαιρέτως Παναγίας και διακόπτεται η λειτουργία και ψέρνουμε αυτόν τον υπέροχο ύμνο άξιον εστί για την Παναγία, έτσι και την ημέρα της Πεντηκοστής λέμε άλλο κομμάτι για την Παναγία που λέει η συντομία μη της φοράς. Λέγαμε με τον Πάτερ Προπορή στο ιερό πριν αρχίσουμε. Μη της φοράς διαπήρα κυοφορήσαστα. Δηλαδή, Παναγία Παρθένε, εσύ που κυοφόρησες τον Λόγο του Θεού, δεν δίχως φορά, κρατώντας την παρθενία, εσύ που έγινες στο δοχείο, you became the vessel, Virgin Mary, for the word of God to be born. And this is the hymn that we will chant towards Panagia, which is chanted today for Pentecost.
Che like to pass you over to my very able, well, that's subject to perception, sisters, Tula and Delaney, who became a grandmother for the first time on Thursday. Which makes Papa and Stavros and Presbyterian great-grandparents. So I'd like to now hand over the MC to them, and they will take you and guide you through the evening. Thank you very much.
To be a baker, a fisherman and a builder. He migrated to Australia in 1963 at the age of 18 and lived with his sisters in Sydney and Deepwater. Steve, or Stavros as he was known back then, enjoyed working very hard, going to the gym, doing weights, karate and boxing. In the late 1960s, his youngest brother arrived in Sydney to study medicine, and it was he who introduced Stavros to join the Greek Orthodox Fellowship, otherwise known as Enosi. This Christian fellowship was to be fundamental and instrumental to the trajectory of Father Stavros' life, including the journey to priesthood. During this time, whilst working a number of jobs, Stavros became a self-taught scholar, learning English via correspondence and reading every book he could buy or borrow that enriched his understanding and knowledge of the Orthodox faith, and more importantly, practice and live the Orthodox way of life. In 1970, he returned to Greece with the idea of going to a monastery and pursuing a monastic life. However, his parents had other ideas for him and introduced him to the beautiful, kind and hard-working neighbour, Kiyaki. This was a sliding doors moment indeed, and arguably the better of the two options. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here to tell the story. After their wedding in Greece, Stavros and Kula set up home in Australia and had 4 children in quick succession: myself, Eleni, Andrea and Con. They both worked extremely hard to provide and establish their family unit. All the while, Stavros was heavily involved in this Christian enosi, actively pursuing and learning more about his faith, teaching Sunday schools at various parishes in Sydney, and providing pastoral care to migrant Greek families who were struggling financially or emotionally. Stavros and Kula were consciously proactive in developing and supporting their children physically, emotionally, culturally and spiritually, and encouraged us to do well in all our endeavours and to be thoughtful and community-minded. In 1980, like many other migrant families, Stavros and Kula took their family to Greece to test whether Greece would be a better place to bring up their young family. However, after 6 months, they decided to return to Australia, where they continued to work extremely hard in their own business and further establishing themselves. Stavros' love for the church was not a separate entity or facet to his life. His faith burned deeply within him, and people around him began to jokingly call him or Papas, Reverend Father, as he practiced his life according to the will of God and preached the word of God as a layman to young and old. This zeal and unshakable belief instigated a number of leaders of our Orthodox Church, such as the late Archbishop Stylianos and bishops in Greece, to call Stavros to join the priesthood. However, Stavros did not feel he was worthy of this and declined this calling on a number of occasions. In 1983, and after selling their family business, the then Archbishop Stylianos invited Stavros to join the officers at the Archdiocese in Redford, Sydney, and where Stavros was able to learn more about ecclesiastical and church administration matters. Before long, the Archbishop again asked Stavros about joining the priesthood. This time, Stavros could not ignore his calling. However, he had to first ensure that his wife and children were supportive of his decision. By this stage, his wife saw the inevitable writing on the wall and committed to support him wholeheartedly and unreservedly in this life-changing and profound decision. 35 years later, it can be said categorically that this commitment was honoured to the nth degree. In late 1983, our father was ordained a deacon and a priest in early 1984. In a few short months, our family packed everything to start our new life in unknown Adelaide. We arrived in Adelaide on Anzac Day, 25th of April 1984, and the rest, as I say, is history.
Μεγαλύνει η πίστη μου τον Κύριον, ότι επέβλεψε εν την ταπείνωση της δούλης αυτού. Γνωρίζω την παιδική και φοβισμένη και στενή ψυχή σου, αγαπητέ υποδιάκονε Σταύρε. Γνωρίζω την ταπείνωσή σου. Είμαι βέβαιος ότι αυτή την ιερά στιγμή δεν θα είσαι δυνατόν να βρεις δικά σου λόγια να παρακαλέσεις τον Θεό παρά να επαναλάβεις τα λόγια της Θεομήτωρος. Η δούλη ψυχή σου, η δεμένη δηλαδή στον Κύριο ψυχή σου, η οποία ποτέ δεν φαντάστη να αξιωθεί και αυτή τιμής, να υπηρετήσει το ιερό της ιερτήριον του Θεού, να γίνεις λειτουργός και οικονόμος των μυστηρίων της χάριτος. Την στιγμή αυτή η ψυχή σου λέγω αυτή συνέχεται και φοβείται και δακρύει. Όλοι μας, και εγώ και η υπόλοιπη συλλειτουργή και όλο το πλήρος του Θεού και όλο το λαό του Θεού απεκδεχόμεθα το έλεος του Θεού. Κανείς μας δεν δύναται να ελπίσει επί την αξιομηθεία των έργων του ή των σκέψεών του, διότι γνωρίζουμε ότι ο άνθρωπος είναι αμαρτωλός και αν μία ημέρα αυτού επί της γης. Αλλά λοιπόν η ταπείνωσή σου μεγάλη. Και την εγνώρισα αυτή την ταπείνωση όχι μόνο εξ ακοής και εξ αποστάσεως. Σε έβλεπα πάντοτε στα χειρουργία του οπουδήποτε, εδώ στην περιοχή της Νέας Νοσίου Αλίας και διεντός του Σίδνεϊ, να υπηρετείς αθορύβος και σιωπηλός, εγκαταλείψει όσο έσκατος των λειτουργών μέσα στον ναό, όσο έσκατος των ανθρώπων, και όταν ο πρωτοσύγγελος κατετολύνει σε εκκλησία, για να τον αγγείλει ότι η εκκλησία σε θεωρεί πρικισμένο από τη χάρη του Θεού, για να υπομειστείς αυτήν την ιερά ευθύνη εις αυτούς τους πονηρούς και δυσκερείς καιρούς. Ο φόβος του μεγάλωσε και η ταπείνωσή σου υψίστη. Και είπες και εσύ, όπως έλεγαν άλλοτε οι προφήτες, νεότερος είμαι εγώ. Ποιος είμαι εγώ? Είμαι ανάκτης, είμαι μικρός, αλλά επεμείναμε στην κλίση. Με ήττα γνωρίζονται στην κλίση με γιώτα. Γνωρίζοντας ότι εκ φιλίας μητρός σου ο Θεός σε είχε προορίσει γι' αυτό το ιερό λειτουργείο. Και πώς το εγνωρίζω? Όχι από τη σοφία μας, μήτε από προφητικές ικανότητες, αλλά παρακολουθούνται, όπως είπα, τη θερμή ιδιωτήτου, την ακαταλάλητο όπου και αν εργάστηκε πολιτεία σου, την ευλαβή οικογένειά σου, τα ενθεσία και φόβη Κυρίου ανατραφέντα τέχνη, την ευλαβεστά της σύζυγός, τον ευλαβέστα των αδελφών.
Story Εσύ που βγάζεις τα καλύτερα παιδιά, Θεσσαλονίκη μου μεγάλη φτωχομάνα, όπου κι αν πάω σε έχω πάντα στην καρδιά. Θεσσαλονίκη μου ποτέ δεν σ' απαντιέμαι, είσαι πατρίδα μου το λέω και καφιέμαι. Είσαι πατρίδα μου το λέω και καφιέμαι. Θεσσαλονίκη μου ποτέ δεν σ' απαντιέμαι. Βγάζεις τα πιο όμορφα κορίτσια στην γωνιά, βράδια ποέμικα τραγουδιά στα σοκάκια, τρέλια ξενύχια μες στην κάθε γειτονιά. Θεσσαλονίκη μου ποτέ δεν σ' απαντιέμαι, είσαι πατρίδα μου το λέω και καφιέμαι. Είσαι πατρίδα μου το λέω και καφιέμαι. Θεσσαλονίκη μου ποτέ δεν σ' απαντιέμαι. Έλα όλοι μαζί παλαμάκια, έλατε, όλοι μαζί. Έτσι. Στην απάνω γειτονίτσα, μ' αγαπάνε δυο κορίτσια στην απάνω γειτονίτσα. Μα εγώ πονάω Γιάννη, μα εγώ πονάω Γιάννη, με οργόνια στα χρονιάννη. Μα εγώ πονάω Γιάννη, μα εγώ πονάω Γιάννη, με οργόνια στα χρονιάννη. Έτσι, έτσι. I τα καμπουράκια στου γυαλού τα κοτσαλάκια κι όλο κλείνε τα καμπουράκια στου γυαλού τα κοτσαλάκια.
On the night of April 25th, 1984, my family and I waited anxiously for the arrival of Father Stavros and the Papparazzi family. They were driving from Sydney, which is by no means a short drive, but with Father Stavros behind the wheel, I recall they arrived in record time. After peering out the window each time we heard a car drive by and no sign of the family, we were caught by surprise when the doorbell finally rang. And there in the porch was Father Stavros, and 3 young children all lined up. As Father introduced the children, Dula, Eleni and Andrew, he said, there's also one more, and that was Con. He was in the car frantically looking for his sock. However, that night we quickly discovered a 5th child was on its way, as Presbytera was pregnant with Michael. The relationship between our 2 families rapidly grew as we shared many months together, and it wasn't long before my mother and Presbytera connected on a level like 2 close sisters. My mum to this day recalls the anxiety, excitement and fear she experienced on the 20th of October 1984. Mum received a call from Tula, who was very distressed, as Presbytera had gone into labour and Padre could not be reached. So Tula phoned my mum for help. Mum drove from Newton to Highbury to pick up Presbytera, together with Dula, then frantically drove through every red light while sounding the horn all the while, pleading with Presbytera to hold on, don't push, until they arrived at the Queen Victoria Hospital, where Presbytera momentarily gave birth to Michael. It was one of my mum's most unforgettable moments in her life, and I think the same can be said for Presbytera and Dula as well. Within a few months, my parents were to become the godparents to the newest arrival of the Papparazzi family, an honour they hold dear to their heart. But the proudest moment for my parents and my family was to witness the ordination of their godson into the priesthood. That day was filled with so much emotion for us all. Father Michael, we are so proud of you. Over the years, our 2 families shared many times together. The kids would meet at our house after school, where my late grandmother would feed us an afternoon snack and we played games, or what the kids preferred to do was to watch TV shows, as they didn't have a television at their house. My sister Irene and I bonded with Dula and Eleni, and my brother Spiro was thrilled to have Andrea and Con as his new opponents in regular table tennis tournaments in our courtyard. And my brother firmly believed that you must earn your win in a game of table tennis and not just because you're younger than him. As the years passed and we grew older, we all moved on in our lives, got married and had children, but what kept us connected is the parish of Prophet Elias. Our regular church attendance not only meant that we would see each other, but more importantly, through the leadership and guidance of Father Stavros, we all gained a better understanding of our faith and the teachings of the Church. Father Stavros, you have become a pillar of this community who continually strives to achieve the best outcome for us all and for the generations to come. And for this we are eternally grateful. Thank you.
Too bad. Our next song is Divaeri. Divaeri is an old Greek song. It's actually Diaveri, which means a precious stone. And the author of this song tells us that they've lost their child somewhere. They've migrated somewhere else. And this precious stone leaves them and becomes someone else's. And this is the migration, this is the immigration that all of us have done, most of you from Greece to Australia. It's a beautiful song. Father Stavros says that we are all immigrants here, migrants here in this world, and our long patrida, country, is heaven. And we are all therefore migrants here on earth. So enjoy, but we should have got the professionals to play last and us first. Let's see what happens. We've never practiced, by the way, so of those were first.
Practice, no practice, that was simply stunning. Well, it gives me...
Premier South Australia and the South Australian Government for the 60th anniversary musical night with a surprise here for the parish. Tonight is an opportunity for the local Greek community and its many friends and supporters to come together and to share what is a significant milestone, not just for the church, but of course for Father Stavros and Kay, that we are celebrating this together. The establishment of the Church of the Prophet Elias developed from very humble beginnings. Began all those years ago in 1959 when local Greek migrant families purchased land here on Beulah Road and gained approval to establish a church in November of that year. By 1960, the church was completed, and over the past 6 decades has played an important role in religious, social and cultural life of the Greek community in the eastern suburbs. Today, the parish of Prophet Elias stands tall amongst migrant communities in our state as a shining example of how a bond between culture and family has sustained a community over generations, and a community that's been very successful in integrating more broadly into the South Australian community, and how our community's heritage can become part of the broader community culture of in modern South Australia. The parish community should be proud of its hard work and its achievements. Indeed, it's a church which has always kept one eye on the future. And maybe it was that scare in 1984, Father Stavros, that has motivated that continued move towards the future. Most importantly, it has invested in its community to ensure that the Greek culture is preserved and passed on to future generations. That's why the government was so pleased to support the church's vision of the cultural centre. I was very pleased to see how advanced the building had moved since the last time I was here. I know the Premier was very proud to have been present at the laying of the foundation stone for the centre in March this year. And I also know it was a very proud day for Father Stavros. For 35 years, Father Stavros has been a tower of strength for this parish, presiding over hundreds of weddings, baptisms, and of course, Sunday services, and we learned many more services during the week as well. He's also responsible for establishing the Sunday school, dance classes, youth groups, and as we heard earlier, as well as providing pastoral care as the chaplain at the University of Adelaide and to inmates at several correctional facilities here in South Australia. Father Stavros also oversaw the expansion of the church itself, which occurred not long after his arrival, as well as other facilities in the church grounds, including the function centre and the museum in the 1990s. And yet, despite his love of the church, I'm told, and we heard tonight, that he was a reluctant priest. And I'm sure that the entire community here is very pleased that he capitulated to the Archbishop Stavros and led him to undertake his studies to be a deacon in 1984 and then move on to take his reins here at the Prophet Elias Church. And that was an interesting story about the arrival. I certainly could relate to that. And of course, along the journey, he is supported by his wife, Kay, and their children, Tula, Eleni, Andrew, Con, and of course Father Michael, and their 11 grandchildren and 1 great-grandchild. And we know that Kay has become the backbone of the community here at Prophet Elias through her support for Father Stavros and the work that she does with the community in general. And understand it's a rare event that you're sitting together in the front row. It's lovely to see you there, enjoying your time. It's been a tremendous partnership, the two of you. So your longevity at the parish as the priest and the First Lady, I should say, as well, here at Prophet Elias is a remarkable achievement, and it could only be possible through your love of the parishioners and their love for you, and of course the support you receive from your family. It's worth mentioning that in addition to celebrating 35 years at the church, you'll be 75 this year. it is scientifically proven that the more birthdays you have, the longer you live. So it's great news, isn't it? It's great news. And I'm sure in the years to come that you will look back at 2019 with many fond memories. Congratulations to you, Father Stavros, and UK, for your dedication to the service of the church and the Greek community. And before I go, I've got, I'll ask Jen, would you mind brings Father Stavros and Kay up to the lectern? The Premier was very disappointed that he couldn't be here, so he arranged for a permanent memento to formally celebrate and acknowledge the time that you've spent with your community here in Norwood. And he had this plate engraved. Just come through here. And he felt that because he couldn't be here, you'd be reminded of his enjoyment of attending the Easter services when you saw that on the mantelpiece. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Father Stavros was eager to speak, but we're going to hold off a little bit longer for him to speak. Thank you, Minister Bozzoni. We are delighted to have with us the Honourable Tom Koutsoutonis, MP representing the Leader of the Opposition, Mr Peter Malinauskas. I ask him to convey a short message. Thank you.
I won't go through the acknowledgements again. The burden of priesthood is not for everyone. It's a cross that only a few elect can carry. It's a gift, a calling from God. He calls his priests carefully and for his own reasons. Sometimes he shares those reasons with us, sometimes he doesn't. It can take a lifetime of service to understand why God has sent us a particular person. Sometimes we never understand, but here in Adelaide, especially here at Prophet Elias, we are blessed that he sent us Father Stavros. We didn't just get Father Stavros, we got Presbytera Kyriaki Kula. Not just because of the works, though there are many, not just because of his partnership with his Presbytera, which is, I think, miraculous, not just because of his devotion to God and this parish, which we all see, not just because of his commitment to maintaining our faith in a faraway land, maintaining our language, our culture, and our history, which he has, but because of the love he has shown us all through all those works and all those labours. Imagine for a moment his life as a priest. How often does the phone ring at the worst possible time? Father, Pater, my mother has died. Pater, my father is ill. My brother, my sister, my child. Come and pray for us. Pray for our sick family. Often for us, the lay people, we see them at celebrations or sparingly at commemorations. For Pater and his family, those things are a weekly, if not daily occurrence. What we don't see is what characterises the life of a servant of God like a priest. The hours with families counselling on a bereavement, on a terminal diagnosis, on the loss of a child. He comes, he comforts, Sometimes in our despair we assign blame. We demand to know why God has done this, and we look at the servant, and sometimes unfairly they are charged. Of course, the absence for that duty means that Presbytera and her family are the ones who had to carry that cross as well, and they've done it. And I've seen up close the humility and love of this man. A close family friend of ours, an old school friend, diagnosed with an unfair and unrelenting cancer, was suffering. Young children still to raise. She turned to Father, and he was there countless times. I only saw it once for that family, but I bet you there are hundreds. How many family events did he miss where Presbytera was alone? How many times did he have to share his time with others, with strangers, away from his family? Never a quiet Easter, never a quiet Christmas, always on show. Our priests stand out, and I'm glad that they do. Always in the public glare, always available, servicing even our prisons, spreading the word of God. And as for today, it had to be organised in secret because Pater wouldn't have it. Why? He thinks he's not worthy. I'm sorry, Pater, but Akshos. But he's done more without even knowing it. He's been an example to us all. He's raised his family here in the church. Sacrifice the normal, even the mundane, as that we all long to be with our children. No lazy weekends for a priest. No relaxing by the pool. Feast days, funerals, Lent, years, all the services of the Holy Calendar. Now we've seen all the works that he's done together with Presbytera, this hall, the church, and he continues. It's not just about standing still. It's always about moving forward. But of course, his greatest gift to us all, as I said earlier, was his example. And what other example has he given us? An Australian-born priest. Our faith has now migrated and is a permanent fixture here in Australia. Our priests went to our schools, not just imports from a faraway country. We grow up with them. They raise their families with us. We see them in our community. That is the gift that this man has given us. And as we saw earlier, his grandchildren, again, singing the hymns of praise on Pentecost throughout the year, in a land so far away from where those hymns were written. It's like our faith and our culture live, and they live through our people and our church, and Pater has done so much to keep it alive. Pater, I've seen you up close as a treasurer and as a parishioner. He treats us both the same. He never asks for anything for himself, only for his community. All of our priests do that. None of them live in their churches. They live for their church. And they live for us. And Pater's 60 years and 35 years, you were called for a reason. And I thank our late Archbishop for seeing that calling and bringing you to us and giving you to us. So we are borrowing you for the time you're here. And we thank you for all your service. And I also want to thank his family for the sacrifices that they've had. To be the sons or daughters of a priest is not easy. It's easier to be the son or daughter of a politician than it is for a priest. Politicians only have short time spans, yours is for life. But again, Pater, Presbytera, thank you. And may your works continue and your example shine to us all. Thank you very much.
That was very moving. We really appreciate it.
Song written by Licea Eliti in 1949, music by Miki Theodorakis, but it only came to light really in 1974 when we see democracy was really observed. So this song here is the Geosinis Idia, where we sung together with the choir, the Byzantine choir, who we thank deeply. We have the first chanter of St. Raphael's Nicholas and Irini Athelstan Kire Ioannou, Mr. Stefanos Kakoulis from ANMI, Mr. Nicholas Zisopoulos, who is also our president of our Syllabo, and our boys here from Norwood. We thank them very much. And I would like to get the light.
So I'm all managed to keep this event today a secret. The lieutenant just turned to me a few minutes ago and said, "We weren't expecting this." So yes, there's proof that we Greeks can get together and keep a secret. I'll keep it short. I didn't really prepare a speech, but off my head. What can I say about this family? It's just amazing, really. First of all, the two ladies, Dula and Eleni, congratulations for everything you've done so far. The truth is I haven't very much interacted myself with them, but I know their work behind the scenes, and that is highly appreciated. But Stavros goes without saying. We all know his great contribution to the community, what he's done in the church, his catechism, and all that has gone down very well noted by all of us. Presbytera, believe it or not, when Deputy Foreign Minister Terence Cook came here recently for the National Day celebration, leaving in our car, the minister, myself, and our ambassador in Canberra, we were not discussing bilateral relations with Australia or the problems of the local community, but we were actually debating how was it possible that she came up with a fantastic bogatsa without milk. Not to mention, of course, her fantastic margherita she made on Easter, which the Premier himself told me again and again that he's waiting for it. But when he came here, he stopped at 2 plates, so I ate 4. To go first to Father Michael. Well, Father Michael, I remember in my previous house, one day I was reading a paper, and it said, I was really touched. There was an article in it, I think it was Neos Cosmos, saying that this priest is actually conveying to young children with his simple way basic elements and principles of orthodoxy and religion. And that was really amazing. I mean, it's very difficult to get along to a child, to get across to a child basic ideas that have to do with religion. I was really touched. Remember, I told you that day after I saw you, and really congratulated him on that. Keep up the good work. And finally, last, but definitely not least, Andreas. Oh man, this guy, Jack for all trades. We worked together to organize the very successful, as it turned out, National Day celebration on the 25th of March. And man, he was everywhere. He could do everything. And I saw him in church chanting and everything. One day I went to a place to wash my car and I saw him there waiting for his car being washed. I mean, I started having nightmares. He was all over me. It's like stalking. I once turned on the navigation in my car and thought it was his voice saying, turn left. Then you have arrived. Everybody, let's give a hand to this great family.
Most Sundays without seeking a distinguished chair. Please welcome the Honourable Connie Benares, MLC SAPS Party.
Another hard act to follow. Thank you, Consul General. Πάτερ, Πρεσβυτέρα, επίσημοι καλεσμένοι, κυρίες και κύριοι, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, bear with me because this will be in Greek and we just don't know how that's going to go. Καταρχήν, είναι μεγάλη τιμή μου που βρίσκομαι μαζί σας εδώ απόψε. Συνήθως όταν είμαι καλεσμένη να μιλήσω κάπου είναι επειδή είμαι βουλευτής και μιλάω για τα συνηθισμένα. Σήμερα όμως θα μιλήσω από την καρδιά μου. Θα σας πω το τι σημαίνει για μένα να βρίσκομαι εδώ απόψε που γιορτάζουμε την 35η επέτειο του Πάτερ και της Πρεσβυτέρας μας. Πριν 20 χρόνια, η αδερφή μου και εγώ ήρθαμε να κανονίσουμε, να βαφτίσουμε τον ανεψιό μου. Εγώ θα ήμουν η Νουνά. Όταν γεννήθηκε η ανεψιά μου, ξαναγυρίσαμε. Ξαναγυρίσαμε και άλλες 3 φορές όταν ήρθε ο καιρός να βαφτίσουμε και το αδερφού μου τα παιδιά. Κάθε φορά και πιο διαφωτισμένοι. Αλλά πριν από 3,5 χρόνια, όταν γεννήθηκε ο γιος ο δικός μου, είχα λόγο να στεναχωριέμαι. Ο σύζυγός μου, ο Γιάννης, Ιταλός στην καταγωγή, μεγάλωσε μέσα σε μια καθολική οικογένεια. Εγώ σαν μάνα ήξερα τι ήθελα για τον γιο μου. Αλλά όπως φαντάζεστε, την ίδια στιγμή δεν ήταν εύκολο να πω στον σύζυγο μου πως ήθελα να βαφτίσω το μοναχογιό μας στην Ορθόδοξη Εκκλησία. Ακόμα κι αν εσύ ο πατέρας του δεν είσαι Ορθόδοξος. Ναι, είμαστε όλοι χριστιανοί, αλλά είναι και αυτός πατέρας. Και αυτό που του ζητούσαν ήταν κάτι ξένο για αυτόν. Κάτι που δεν είχε συνηθίσει όταν μεγάλωνε. Τώρα πια ξέρω, χωρίς αμφιβολία, ότι ο σύζυγός μου δέχτηκε να κάνουμε ακριβώς αυτό που του συζήτησα, ακριβώς αυτό που ήθελα, λόγω της συζητήσης με τον Πάτερ. Ο ίδιος πρώτος, θα σας πει, ήταν η πρώτη φορά που αισθάνθηκε άνετα σε Ορθόδοξη και γι' αυτόν ξένη εκκλησία. Ήταν η πρώτη φορά που του είχε δοθεί η ευκαιρία να συζητήσει με ιερέα από Ορθόδοξη Εκκλησία. Πρώτη φορά που δεν ένιωσε σαν ξένος. Πάτερ, γι' αυτό θα σου είμαι για πάντα ευγνώμων. Όχι μόνο τον τρόπο που τίμησες τον σύζυγο, αλλά και για την καθοδήγηση σου. There's my first error for the night. Είμαι περήφανη που τα 6 παιδάκια μας, τα εγγόνια μου και ο γιος μου, έχουν βαφτιστεί εδώ, στο ναό μας. Αλλά και η πρεσβυτέρα μας δεν είναι απλά σύζυγος του Πάτερ. Εσείς, πρεσβυτέρα, είστε το σόβιο αίμα της παροικίας μας. Πρεσβυτέρα, χέρι στην καρδιά, εσύ και μόνο εσύ έχεις βοηθήσει εμένα και είμαι σίγουρη πολλούς άλλους εδώ απόψε στις πιο σκοτεινές μας μέρες. Δεν έχεις βοηθήσει απλά μία εκκλησία ή μία εκκλησιαστική παροικία, αλλά ένα ολόκληρο χωριό. Ένα χωριό στο οποίο ανήκουμε. Ένα χωριό στο οποίο όχι μόνο αισθανόμαστε αγαπημένοι, αλλά είμαστε ειλικρινά αγαπημένοι. Ένα χωριό το οποίο μας ταΐζει, μας φροντίζει, μας προσφέρει καταφύγιο. Και τα κάνεις όλα αυτά με αίσθηση χάριτος, με αίσθημα ταπεινότητας, αλλά και με αίσθηση του χιούμορ. Δεν μπορούμε με τα λόγια μονάχα να σε ευχαριστήσουμε για όλα αυτά που μας έκανες και ακόμα μας κάνεις. Προσωπικά και εγώ δεν μπορώ να σε ευχαριστήσω αρκετά. Αυτό που σίγουρα ξέρω είναι ότι δεν είναι τυχαίο που βρέθηκα στην πόρτα σου. Γι' αυτό έχω να ευχαριστήσω τον Θεό μας. Εύχομαι να γνωρίζετε και οι δυο σας την εξαιρετική επιρροή που έχετε στις ζωές μας κάθε μέρα. Πάτερ, υπάρχουν ειδικά 2 μαθήματα που μου έχεις κάνει που δεν πρόκειται να τα ξεχάσω. Το πρώτο μάθημα έχει σχέση με τις αμαρτίες μας. Όλες μας έχουμε τις αμαρτίες μας, άλλοι λίγοι, άλλοι πολλές. Αλλά ένα μωρό, μου έχεις πει, είναι μικρό παιδάκι και δεν μπορεί ποτέ να φταίξει για τις αμαρτίες των γονιών του. Το κάθε παιδί αξίζει να βαφτιστεί και βέβαια είναι δουλειά του κάθε ιερέα να εξασφαλίσει την βάφτιση ό,τι και να έχουν κάνει οι γονείς. Το δεύτερο μάθημα αφορά η σημασία της Εκκλησίας μας. Και θυμάμαι σε μια συζήτηση που είχα με τον Πάτερ, μου είπε να σκέφτομαι την Εκκλησία σαν ένα σκουπιδοδενεκέ. Στην αρχή τον κοίταξα με περιέργεια. Συνέχισε λοιπόν και μου εξήγησε ο κόσμος χρειάζεται να διώχνει τα σκουπίδια, να καθαρίζει συχνά τον εαυτό του από όλα τα σκουπίδια που υπάρχουν στις ζωές τους, από τις αμαρτίες τους. Και η Εκκλησία μας, ο ιερέας μας δίνει αυτή την ευκαιρία. Μας δίνει την ευκαιρία να ερχόμαστε, να προσκυνάμε στον Θεό, αλλά και να ομολογούμε τις αμαρτίες μας. Μόνο έτσι καθαρίζεται η ψυχή. Και ο ιερέας μας βοηθεί να κάνουμε ακριβώς αυτό. Καλό μάθημα κι αυτό. Για εμένα η Εκκλησία και το χωριό που έχετε χτίσει εδώ μου προσφέρει και κάτι παραπάνω. Μου έχετε προσφέρει καταφύγιο. Έρχομαι γιατί πιστεύω, έρχομαι να προσκεφθώ. Έρχομαι και κλαίω, έρχομαι και γελάω, έρχομαι και ξεφεύγω, έστω και για λίγο από τον κόσμο και να ξεσπάσω από τις καθημερινές δυσκολίες που ζούμε όλοι. Έρχομαι στις καλύτερες και στις χειρότερες στιγμές της ζωής, για βαφτίσια, για γάμους και για κηδείες. Και έρχομαι για ελπίδα. Και απάνω σε αυτό το θέμα θα σας αφήσω με μια ιστορία. Πριν 16 χρόνια, ο αδελφός μου έπαθε μεγάλο και μάλιστα επικίνδυνο ατύχημα. Χρειάστηκε 8ωρη εγχείρηση για να τον σταθεροποιήσουν οι γιατροί την κατάσταση του και πολλές ακόμα αργότερα. Μετά την πρώτη εγχείρηση κοιμόταν πολύ από τα φάρμακα. Αλλά σε μία από αυτές τις πρώτες μέρες ξύπνησε όταν αισθάνθηκε ένα χέρι επάνω στο κεφάλι του. Άνοιξε σιγά τα μάτια και είδε τον Πάτερ να προσεύχεται. Δεν τον είχαμε φωνάξει τον Πάτερ, αλλά το έμαθε πως ένα παλικάρι είχε βρεθεί στο νοσοκομείο και πήγε από μόνος του να τον προσευχηθεί. Για τον αδελφό μου ήταν το μοναδικό θα το ξαναπώ αυτό. Για τον αδελφό μου ήταν το μοναδικό φάρμακο που του έδωσε τη δύναμη να ξαναξυπνήσει και την παραπάνω μέρα. Πάτερ, του έδωσες ελπίδα. Σαν οικογένεια, ξέραμε ειλικρινά πως είχαμε πειράξει τον ναό μας. Αυτά είναι λίγο από τα μέτρητα μικροπράγματα που μας χαρίζετε, τις αναμνήσεις που θυμόμαστε και μας κάνετε να σας εκτιμούμε. Πάτερ, πρεσβυτέρα, συνεχίστε να μας δίνετε ελπίδα, γιατί η ζωή χωρίς ελπίδα δεν υπάρχει. Με όλη μου την καρδιά, σας ευχαριστώ για όλα όσα προσφέρετε και σας αγαπώ. Συγχαρητήρια πολλά. Και συγχαρητήρια και για τη γέννηση στην οικογένεια και την επόμενη γενιά της οικογένειας σας. Ευχαριστώ πολύ.
Η οθόνη βουλιάζει, σαλεύει το πλήθος, εικόνες ξεχύνονται με μιας. Πας παλικάρι, ωραίος σαν μύθος, κι ολοϊσιά στο θάνατο
και όλες οι αντενές μιας γης χτυπημένης, μεγάφωνα και ασύρματοι από παντού, γλυκά σε μανουρίζουν κι εσύ ανεβαίνεις ψηλά στους βασιλιάδες του ουρανού. Πομπές ξεκινούνε, οι σκλάβες ουρλιάζουν στο βωμό. Ουρλιάζουν τα πλήθη, καμπάνες ηχούνε κι ο ύμνος σου τραντάζει το ναό. Ιησούς, αλήθεια είμαι εγώ και που πάω με χίλιες δυο εικόνες στο μυαλό. Προβολείς με στραβώνουν και πάω και γονατίζω και το αίμα σου φιλώ.
Το φίδι και αυτός ο Μέγας Αλέξανδρος. Πάντως, there was a time when Father Michael was young, you know, a lot of times children have terrible twos at 2. He had it at 6 months. And he would sit there banging his head against the wall. My mum would run and say, hey, stop the kid, το παιδάκι, να χτυπήσει το κεφάλι του. And mum would leave and I'd say, hit it harder, the horse still standing. And that would make him so angry. So whether that's that, or whether I told him that he was never our brother, we found him on the side of the road. And
that's a story and a half. I believed that for about 3 months. And I was found in the gutter. This is the psychological trauma. I'm sorry. And that was not but the Stavros' fault, of a priest family, but of someone.
Of the snake.
Anyway, no one's a snake. Είκοσι χρόνια στον Μπερντέ, κρύφα παραμονεύω και πίσω απ' τον Αλέξανδρο το φίδι αγριεύω. σαν τον Αλέξανδρο το φίδι αγριεύω. Αλέκο μη χαρίζεσαι, καθάρισε το ευθύνος, θέλει δουλειά και υπομονή, μου απαντά εκείνος. Θέλει δουλειά και υπομονή, μου απαντάει εκείνος.
Εγώ που δεν κατάλαβα ένα μισή αιώνα πως έχω γίνει θεατής σε ένα φτιακό αγώνα, πως έχω γίνει θεατής σε ένα φτιακό αγώνα. Αν με χαρίζεσαι, τα κάνατε πατάκια, λόγος ο Δίας Κοσμιό, παράει παλαμάκια, λόγος ο Δίας Κοσμιό, παράει παλαμάκια.
Τελείωσε παράσταση και σβήσανε τα φώτα, κι αν θέλεις λεπτομέρειες τον εαυτόν σου ρώτα, κι αν θέλεις λεπτομέρειες τον εαυτόν σου ρώτα. Αλέκο μη χαρίζεσαι, καθάρισε το κτήνος, θέλει δουλειά και υπομονή, μου απαντά εκείνος. Θέλει δουλειά και υπομονή, μου απαντά εκείνος.
And then I'll be delighted, of course, to share the love and blessing of His grace of His Nicomaros. Εδεσμιότατε, πατήρ Σταύρε, πάτερ και γέροντα, προσκυνώ, εδεσμιότητη, αγαπητοί αδελφοί και συλλειτουργοί, πατήρ Μιχαήλ και πατήρ Ιωάννη, αξιότιμοι κύριοι βουλευτές της κοινοβουλευτικής κυβερνήσεως και την κυρία Γερουσιαστή, την κυρία Βονάρη, αξιότιμοι, ευγενέστατε, εντεμότατε κύριε Γενικέ Πρόξενε της Ελλάδος στη Νότια Αυστραλία, κύριε Γιώργια Ψιάρτα, αξιότιμοι πρόεδροι των ενωρών κοινοτήτων της Ιεράς Αρχιεπισκοπής μας Αυστραλίας, εδώ στην Νότια Αυστραλία, αγαπητοί αδελφοί και αδελφέ, με ανέθεσε ο Θεοφιλέστατος στην ύψιστη τιμή να τον εκπροσωπήσω σήμερα εδώ μπροστά σας και φυσικά το ανάστημα του δικό του μας γαληνεύει όλους και πιστεύω ότι οι προσευχές του αυτή την ιερή στιγμή μας σαγηνεύουν όλους ώστε να τον έχουμε κοντά μας. Φυσικά λείπει στην Ελλάδα, αλλά στέλνει τις ευχές σε όλους και τις καλύτερες ευχές και ευχαριστίες στον πατήρ Σταύρο και στην πρεσβυτέρα Κυριακή και σε όλους τους ενορίτες. Πριν από λίγες στιγμές, ο πατήρ Μιχαήλ έλαβε ένα μήνυμα από τον καινούριο μας Αρχιεπίσκοπο, που χωρίς να είναι εδώ, χωρίς να έρθει επίσημα εδώ, θα έρθει αυτή την Παρασκευή, ήδη έχει στείλει τα θερμά συγχαρητήρια στον πατήρ Σταύρο και στην αξιότιμη πρεσβυτέρα του, στον κύριο Πρόεδρο και σε όλη την ενορία. Και γι' αυτό δοξάζουν τον Θεό, σαν πρώτη δήλωση ανεπίσημα ναι εδώ στην τοπική μας ενορία, αξιώθηκε εδώ ο προφήτης Ηλίας να δεχθεί αυτά τα συγχαρητήρια από τον καινούριο μας Αρχιεπίσκοπο. Dear beloved brothers and sisters, it is indeed a distinct privilege and a high honor to be representing His Grace Bishop Nicandros at this evening's gathering, this auspicious celebration. His Grace, as you are all aware, is in Greece performing duties for our local church here. We expect him to return next week, God willing, through your prayers. But he gave me the profound responsibility to be able to represent him here and to convey his sincere congratulations to the community, to Father Stavros, to Presbyterian Kyrgyz, and to their family. 60 years is an amazing achievement, especially for our country here, which is definitely young and free, and all the other characteristics, of course, that convey not just our youngness and our freedom, but also a 60,000-year history of profound life, dignified civilization, and of course the grace of God. Every celebration, brothers and sisters, is so profound and so special, and I am deeply moved to be part of this one with all of you, because this act of commemorating the life of the parish is such a sacrifice. It is not an opportunity to receive accolades. Father Stavros personified that in the fact that he was not aware of today's celebration. But his parishioners, his family, those who love him, knew that on this occasion, through this celebration, were able to, in ways that cannot be limited by words, to thank God for all that has happened before today, all the 60 years, for everything that is currently happening, and for all the beautiful things that await us. And the more gratitude that we can convey, truly our lives will be enriched, and the world that we live in will become a greater place. We saw beautiful photos of Father Stavros' ordination. That voice in Greek that you were hearing while those photos of his ordination was taking place was the voice of His Eminence Archbishop Stavros, of blessed memory now as of the 25th of March. And I believe it's particularly important for you to know what he was saying. And it's certainly fitting the personality of Father Stavros that no translation was given. But His Eminence was applauding and augmenting Father Stavros' distinct humility. He called it great humility. So much so that during that ordination service, His Eminence was able to read into Father Stavros' heart and say the following words, and forgive my paraphrase and even mistranslation. He was saying, I know, my child, that your love for God is not able to thank Him for this precious moment. So don't even try, but just accept it. And I believe, Father Stavros, that sentiment that you had on the day of your ordination is something that you've always carried with you and to which we who are younger or older look up to you and are certainly moved. We heard beautiful things from all the speakers that were said today. Our members of Parliament, through their kind words and gifts, the personal encounter that Mr. Tompkins and Tonis had through a personal and isolated event, the pure and heartfelt words from Mrs. Connie Benares, and may I say, what an excellent speech in Greek. And certainly I may need you to translate my sermons into Greek, because I know that perhaps you'll enrich them this way. Lastly, it's no small thing that Father Stavros and his family is aligned to the Church of Prophet Elias. To be a prophet today is not to say things that can't be predicted. To be a prophet today, as in always, has been to be authentic. To be able to convey to all people the love of God, and that in your own unique way, that we must all decrease by allowing Christ to increase in our lives. It's so true that Father Stavros is a personification of the Christian priesthood. And of course, he resembles many, if not all, of our fathers. People attract each other, and our elderly priests have certainly attracted each other and have become such role models. In Father Michael, we have the best in what Australia can offer in terms of the young priesthood. Together they become two axioms on opposite ends of the live stream, that all of us, depending where we are sitting, at least by age, can be attracted to, and this way change for the common good. May these 60 years, may this celebration, may the 35 years of Father Stavros' ministry be worthily received by our Lord in such an offering of praise and doxology for all that has happened up until now, for all that is happening, and for all the beautiful things that await us, and even that await the generations to come after us. There is no such thing as limits for us. We live with the desire to realize that all of us are constantly being perfected in Christ. May God bless you, and Father Stavros, may we always have your prayers and blessings, and the profound ministry and supplications of your dedicated family and Christ-centered parish. Thank you.
Thank you, Father Sluan, for your beautiful words about them.
Feelings and say things that we have in our hearts but couldn't say in our mouths. Having Father Stavros as our parish priest brings to us more than one person. It's like hiring a football coach, and the coach brings the whole team along with it, and you don't have to pay the team. All you do is pay the coach. The Papparazzi family is like that. They've always been together. They've always extended their family into all the people of this community. And what we try to do is extend our arms out to other members of not only the Greek community, but all the communities in South Australia. I think the government recognises that what we are trying to do is to have a society where we all can live peacefully, profitably, have our heads held up high, and know that we do belong. And what happens in this community is that everyone does have a sense of belonging, and that's brought about by the leadership and the vision of Father Stavros. Father Stavros is able to use his vision and see ahead. He can see a goal that he thinks would benefit our people here. What he does is expect the people that with him to work with him and try to overcome any problems that we may have. Doesn't matter how big the problem is, Father Stavros is always able to find a way to solve the problem. Someone mentioned about all the developments the church has done at a debt-free method. Everything we do here costs a lot of money. And Father Stavros' ability to speak, coerce, make people do things that they probably wouldn't have thought was able to do. But whatever happens, Father Stavros is able to succeed and get this community to prosper. With Father Stavros, we've got the hardest person, or not the hardest person, the hardest working person I've ever seen. Svetela Kyriaki is a real workhorse. I have not seen anyone, I thought my mother-in-law was a hard worker. But Svetela Kyriaki is not only a worker, she's she leads by example. No one can say, oh, I can't do it because I'm sore. Because they only have to look at Svetela and they'll see that it doesn't matter how sore you are, how tired you are, you can do it because she can. And she's able to get all the ladies to work together and make the family here benefit and also work together to prosper this community. The Saramatas family, I suppose under the leadership of Andrea, who's the oldest, put on the show, and I don't know how Father Stavros didn't know it was on. He either knows but he's not telling us, but I know that it was very, very hard to keep things quiet. I'd like to thank Andrew and Father Michael and everybody else, all the siblings, for putting the show on for us tonight. Listening to the music, listening to the songs, listening to the stories has really made this night worthwhile. And when you think that, okay, it's part of our 60th anniversary, well, 60 years is nothing. 60 years is simply a drop in the ocean. It's what you do in those 60 years which is important. And in the 35 years that Father Stavros has been here, and that's about nearly my connection to this parish also, a lot has been done. And a lot has been done again, as I said before, due to the vision and the leadership of Father Stavros. Every time we have an executive committee meeting, there's always a little seed planted. Father Stavros says, oh, wouldn't it be nice if we did this? Or wouldn't it be nice if we do that? Sometimes he says, oh, look, I think we should do that. And it's a bit hard to argue, even though you might think, oh, look, I don't really think it's a good idea, or do you realise how much it's going to cost? You know that in the long run, what he's doing is thinking about what this community is going to be like in a few years' time and what it can do to offer the people of the community. As a member of the executive committee, it gives me strength to know that we've got leadership like Father Stavros there. What is scary though is that 75 years, he should have retired some time ago, but he hasn't. And I know that he's approaching retirement. We've all got an idea of what we'd like to happen here, but we don't know. So we're just praying and leaving on the lap of the gods and hope that when Father Stavros does retire, there'll be a connection of his leading us in the future. To the VIPs, many thanks for coming and helping us honour tonight. To the people who came, we tried to advertise as much as we can, as much as we could without going overboard. Thank you for coming. To the band members, it's the first time I've heard a Greek band play without my ears being bashed. So, thank you. The sound mixing is fantastic. Greek music is very pleasurable, and tonight we heard what first-class music can sound like. So again, thank you. I enjoyed it. I'm sure everyone else did. And I think we've got a little bit more to go. Just to finish off, our 60th anniversary, our major function is November the 3rd. We have a dinner dance coming. There's limited places for 250 positions. Tickets are $100, and that includes a very, very big, delicious meal and wines and spirits, no spirits, wines and soft drink. It is going to be held in here. We would like you to come and help us celebrate the 60th anniversary. Please consider getting a group together, getting a table of 10. Get the tickets early because they are going quickly. And again, thank you for coming tonight, and I hope we see you again.
Thank you, Mr. Andrea. They say behind every successful man-child, so I can't hold back my excitement. And the presbyter of Norwood is that woman. At the age of 7, due to her mother falling ill after giving birth to her 3rd child, Kyriaki became the woman of the house. Her father, being a sailor, was unfortunately away most of the time. Her mother became partially paralysed and speech was very blurred. From cooking to cleaning, to working and providing for her siblings and mother. Τι μπορεί κανείς να πει για την πρεσβυτέρα Κυριακή? Ο άνθρωπος που στάθηκε όλα αυτά τα χρόνια πλάι στο Πάτερ Σταύρο είναι η γυναίκα που ποτέ δεν είπε όχι και όμως γεννήθηκε 28 Οκτωβρίου. Ήθελα να ζητήσω την Τούλα να μας απαγγείλει το ποίημα του Γιουριού Περίτη, «Μάνα γλυκύτατη», όπως το έχει απαγγείλει όταν ήταν μικρή. Και όσοι γνωρίζουν το ποίημα, έχει πάρα πολλές σελίδες με πολλούς στίχους. Γι' αυτό, αντί να σας κουράσουμε, θα καλέσουμε τον Ανδρέα να μας τραγουδήσει το επόμενο τραγούδι, αφιερωμένο στην πρεσβυτέρα Κυριακή, στη μητέρα μας, με τίτλο «Η Μάνα».
Είναι ψατοτράγουδο. Το πρωί έψαινα για 3 ώρες, πριν τραγούδαγα για μισή ώρα, τώρα θα ψαλοτραγουδήσω και θα τελειώσουμε με την κλίμακα της Βυζαντινής. Ένα τραγούδι για τη μάνα μου θα γράψω, για αυτή που μου μάθε αγάπη τι θα πει. Μα είναι τα λόγια μου φτωχά να περιγράψω κάνους και πίκρες που τις έδωσε η ζωή. Μα είναι τα λόγια μου φτωχά να περιγράψω κάνους και πίκρες που τις έδωσε η ζωή. Νίκια μου μάνα που να βρω λόγια για σένα, εσύ σου μόνη σου τραγούδι ζωντανό. Αυτά που πέρασες δεν γράφονται με πένα, τα βασάνα σου ήταν μάνα μου βουνό, τα βασάνα σου ήταν μάνα μου βουνό. Από παιδάκι μες στο μορφό το καμίνι ποτέ δεν γνώρισες ανθρώπινη ιστορία. Όλη η ζωή σου ήταν πόνος και οδύνη κι ένας αγώνας να σταθείς σ' αυτή τη γη. Όλη η ζωή σου ήταν πόνος και οδύνη κι ένας αγώνας να σταθείς σ' αυτή τη γη. Γλυκιά μου μάνα, να βρω λόγια για σένα. Εσύ σου μόνη σου τραγούδι ζωντανό. Αυτά που πέρασες δεν γράφουνε με πένα. Τα βασάνα σου ήταν μάνα βουνό. Τα βασάνα σου ήταν μάνα μου άνιζω και
Αυτό το παλικάρι είναι ο Πάτο.
Yeah.
I'd also like to thank our MCs. How did you go about understanding the ladies? Was it all right? Okay. Do you know there was a monk, and he was so good and so holy, that God decided to go and visit him and say to him, "Monk, you're so holy, you've done so much good. What is it that I can offer to you?" And the monk was thinking, "You know, I'm scared of flying. I would really like it if you could build for me a freeway here from the monastery to America to visit my loved ones." And God said to him, "Look, I was thinking more on the lines of spirituality. God can do everything, but let me come back in 2 weeks and we'll revisit the issue." Okay. 2 weeks later, God visits this monk. And he says, "Monk, holy monk, have you rethought what I said to you?" He said, "Yes, God, I've rethought about it. You know what? I would like you to make me understand women in confession." And he said, "How many lanes would you like on that freeway?"
Thanks, Andrew.
First of all, we say in Greek, "Tai niko mia dimo," when in English that means those things you do at home, don't expose them to the people. But apparently everything has been presented this night. An evening that I never knew what would be. I thought there was music only and nothing to do with me. But just to thank you all, I heard the word by the Stavros many times, and I would rather prefer, thank you of course, to say, "Our Lord Jesus, our God, Father, Son and Holy Spirit, gave Father Stavros the opportunity to deliver his messages to the people, because that's all I do. I just pass over the message from above and it just pass over to the people. So I haven't done anything. Only just servant of God does and obeying him. But I would like to thank those people, especially when Miss Bonaro says about something I forgot that must be some time ago. And I was telling her that every one of us are just a rubbish being. We have rubbish. And what you do with them, for the rubbish you have in your hearts, bring them to the spiritual Father. Because as you empty the beans every day, likewise you bring them to the church and empty, and the church will bless them and make you holy and make your being clean again. And I can't remember, she still remember it, but also for Tom Kutsundonis, what it says, and also the ministers and everybody who spoke, and the president, they really mentioned so many things. And I haven't done anything. God does everything which is good. Everything good comes from above. And this is what we say every day when in dismissal prayer at the front of Christ, every time we have the divine liturgy at the end of it. And every good thing comes from above. But God gave me you people, lovely people, people as a family. And this is why I'm not offended that those that are at home without exposing, because I feel I'm at home. I feel that I've got brothers and sisters in Christ in front of me. And in this way, I feel that we are one home together. And I've seen so many things today, and reminds me lots of things, a whole lifestyle from young person until now. And really, I'm surprised when and how they collected and how they kept it secret. And looks like everybody knew, even people overseas, like the Examiners, the new Archbishop of Australia, and I knew nothing. And I asked Presbyterian, and she said she didn't know, but I'll have to ask her again. She knew something, and she didn't tell me. So really, God bless this night tonight. We thank you all you came, and those 35 years were 35 years with really a time of prosperity, progress for this community. But this is because I have nice people, lovely people. From the first step, as it was mentioned, came to this parish from Sydney, as was mentioned by the family of Caritas, but also to all you people and the president, of course, the committee and the ladies of the auxiliary. But I cannot really miss out my presbyterian. She was always, and from day one when I had to tell her that, look, His Eminence, of course my spiritual father used to tell me to become my priest, and looks like I found out that His Eminence instigating to make me to become a priest. But I said, I'm not worthy. And even now, without God and His grace, I'm not worthy. No one of us is worthy. And really, His Eminence told me, who did you think is worthy? No one is worthy. But He enables us to do His work, as long as we do with all our hearts. And His Eminence, like my father, it was something special for me, because I was working at the office of the Archdiocese, and we were there every day. And I saw he was working hard, but people didn't understand him. Thank God I had such a spiritual father in Sydney, and also in Greece, in Mount Athos, and so on. Thank you very much you came here tonight. I could talk to you for many hours, but I'm not going to take more of your patience. God bless you all.
Brothers and sisters, it is only fitting that Father blesses us all with a closing prayer this evening.
Ευλογητός η Χριστέ ο Θεός ημών, ο πανσόφρους τους αλήθς αναδείξας, καταπέμψας αυτής το πνεύμα το Αγίο, και δι' αυτό την οικουμένης αγινεύσας, φιλάνθρωπε δόξασι.
Through the prayers of our fathers, Lord Jesus Christ, our God, have mercy on us and save us. Amen.
Εκ μέρους μου και εκ μέρους των αδελφιών μου, σας παρακαλώ